The College Football Experience Week 0 reaction show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code. That's TCE SGPN. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Dan Hawkins. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Welcome to the College Football Experience Week 0 reaction show. Oh, yes, freshly back from Las Vegas. My flight just landed a couple hours ago, and I'm solo because, well, some people can't handle their fucking booze, apparently. But anyway, youtube.com/the college experience. Get on over there. Hit that like and subscribe button. Because man, we did pretty damn well when it came to week 0. Hope you cashed in. We will talk about all that action, all the outcomes, what it means for each team, and a crazy scenario situation happening in the FCS there. So youtube.com/the college experience. Jump on over there and hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget also our secret tapes are still out there. Our secret tapes are still out there. Coaching interviews, player interviews, commissioner interviews, all out there. iTunes, Spotify. Get on over there and check that out as well. While you're there, why not just give us 5 stars, right? I feel like we're giving you 136 fucking previews, and we're in the weeds right now. And by the way, you're in the middle of a triple header. I might go solo giving you the Clemson Tigers. I might go solo giving you the Syracuse Orangemen, but don't you worry. Those are coming up next. We're going to the wee hours of the night. The season is around the corner, folks. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed yourself for guys and gals. Enjoyed yourself for week 0. There was a couple gals in the sports book watching that action, so hopefully you got to enjoy some football. But let's get into this, right? But you're probably wondering who the hell you're listening to, and that's fair. My name is Colby Swigga, Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're gonna pay for it. Good night.
If you tailed us on our picks, your bookie might be sounding like that right about now. If you have a bookie, if not, you're doing illegal. And I'm sure wife, kids, whatever, they're happy with you. Assuming you followed Pick Dundee into the light, because I don't know about. I can't say that for everybody. But let's jump right into this because what an awesome first game. Look, I have a lot of problems with Farmageddon being played in Dublin, Ireland, but at least in Dublin, Ireland, they give you football weather often. And I thought this was the best one we've ever had in Dublin, Ireland, in Dublin, Ireland to just the fact that, it was such a huge game within the conference. Now, does it make sense to play that one there? Probably not. But it makes sense to play it, and that's something that caught my attention was the fact that not next year, but the year after, they will, unless Yormark and the Big 12 correct this issue, this is a rivalry game that will not be played for the first time in over 100 years in 2027. So please tag the Big 12 on Twitter saying, what are we doing here? This should be played every year. It should be protected. But, yeah, I understand my co-host, the Bet Detective and Moneyline Mac. Well, they went with Kansas State. Tried to warn him. I tried to warn him that Matt Campbell has his number. And I mean, it was kind of embarrassing for Kansas State because not only did you never have the lead in this game, never, but also your star quarterback, his dad, and the dad's son and Avery Johnson's brother were fighting. It was a great little dust up there in what is it, Aviva Stadium or some shit like that. Kansas State, Iowa State, 24-21. Iowa State gets it done. Of course, I took Iowa State money line, and of course, I had Iowa State, K-State under 49.5. Never a fucking doubt, folks. As Carson Hansen's elbow touches the half-yard line, and we cash our under as well. Yeah, I wish you guys would have. Yeah, look, come on, Sheed in the chat say there. I wish I would have known you took Iowa State. I would have tailed. Yeah, I jumped all over that. To me, this was I thought Iowa State was the better team, and I thought in the second half specifically they were able to get the ground game going, especially that fourth quarter. I think Hansen had 67 yards in the fourth quarter alone, so that was pivotal. But also, I just trust Rocco Becht. Now, what's crazy, if you just look at the stats on this, it looks like if you didn't watch this game, you would say, well, Avery Johnson played better than Rocco Becht. That is not the case. Short of Becht's fumble, he made key plays at almost every pivotal time, every third down, or with his legs a couple times, also with a few passes. So I thought he clearly was the difference maker in this game, and I thought my handicap was pretty spot on with that, being that would be the case. Now, obviously, Avery Johnson's mistakes, I would say, were not necessarily turnovers. It was more so Dylan Edwards and the backup running back. What was his name again? Both those guys with fumbles, but yeah, it kind of went exactly the way I thought it would go. To be honest, and what was Chris Klieman? I don't understand the going for it on 4th and 1 from your own 29-yard line or 30-yard line, whatever that was. And I know there's speculation, some people say, oh, you might've got it, might've not, I know Mac was in the book saying, well, I think you got it. And I'm like, yeah, but you're also seeing the camera from that point of view. I mean, it did kind of look like it from that, but still it's a dumb fucking play call. You don't go for it in a 3-point game at your own 29-yard line on a 4th and 1 in my mind, especially knowing that the best player on Iowa State's defense is their defensive tackle, Dominic Orange there. Big citrus. So just stupid, in my opinion, very stupid. And yes, Matt Campbell with another big win against Kansas State. We cashed on both of those. I would not hit the panic button yet. I know K-State fans, some of them DM'd me saying like, man, I'm out on Klieman. I look, certain coaches sometimes just have a knack for beating other coaches. Iowa State kind of plays Kansas State style ball in many avenues of football. I would say they play they're similar in many ways, but for whatever reason, Matt Campbell's able to dissect and execute better than him, and in those head-to-head matchups. So I still think Kansas State is alive to win this Big 12. But I will say this: Avery Johnson. He didn't turn the ball over, but he certainly was not sharp until late in the second half. I don't know what that would be. Maybe there was the rain, blame it on the rain. But I still, he did not impress me enough to think like this is some Heisman Trophy style quarterback we have here. So, and that was kind of my analysis I'm not going to take K-State until they show me that, until he shows me that. Now, maybe that happens later in the year. But yeah, and on the other side of this, Iowa State, I think a lot of people disrespected Iowa State in the preseason. Now I know they have, still a very tough schedule ahead of them, but I still think they are. Like everyone made a big deal out of them losing the receivers. I think to me, if you're a good football team, the one position you can kind of get away with is losing the receivers. Like look at that O-line. Iowa State was struggling in the first half on the offensive line, but the second half, that's why I think you play 10 more minutes of that football game or another quarter. I think Iowa State, wins by more because they were getting a lot of success on the ground in the fourth quarter against Kansas State. And And I think that's something to circle for this season, for them to play out the rest of the way. So, hope you tailed me on that. And, but yeah, I mean, shout out to Christopher in the chat. Appreciate you, brother. What a great game though. Tell me that wasn't the best game. I know we've had some good ones in Ireland. I remember that UCF Penn State game that was pretty fire. Boston College, Georgia Tech. I mean, I feel like majority of them are good, with the exception of that Navy Notre Dame game. But I thought this one actually was the best one of all of them. So, and yes, to the chat's point, Dylan Edwards being injured. Well, I mean, first off, that fumble was pretty fucking critical. We thought at that time, but obviously dumb play call by Iowa State on offense too, to go to a pitch in a downpour 1 yard away from the, not even a yard, a half a yard away from the end zone. But I still thought Iowa State was the better team, and I think most people would agree they never trailed the whole game, so they just look like the better football team in my opinion. Did you hear Ron Bradley's statement? They weren't the better team. They just got the win today. Okay, you never had the fucking lead, buddy. But fantastic game. I can't wait to see the rest of the season for both these teams, because I'm not going to overreact. I think both are still very much alive obviously Iowa State is, but I wouldn't hit the panic button yet. Chris Klieman's a good coach. If for whatever reason Matt Campbell gives him a hard time. All right. Anyway, let's go to the second game on the slate, and I'm going chronologically here. This game, and shout out to the person on YouTube who actually gave me shit about this pick, which it was a shitty pick, but I had a pretty fucking awesome day. If I'm telling the truth here, I was shocked with this one. This was the most shocking one of the entire day to me. If you would have told me Incarnate Word, who scored 55 points on Nichols a year ago, 55, and you went into Thibodeau, and let me tell you, I got some DMs saying it was sold out. That shit was, if it was sold out, people bought it ahead of time and didn't go, because that shit was, I don't know, 60% full, I would say. This was just unbelievably shocking. Obviously out the gate, Incarnate Word went down and scored right away, a field goal, go up 3-0. And then after that was kind of everything right there. Nichols was able to tie it up, and then a great play by their corner takes a pick six back. A nice bounce off of the helmet or the back of the hand that bounced right to him on kind of a short little wide receiver screen. And from there, and that was the thing that really stood out, was the way Nichols played defensively throughout that whole game, forcing Incarnate Word to like 3 or 4 major turnovers. A lot of them, 2 of them, I think, you had the pick six, but you also had that one right in the red zone. But I think another thing to evaluate here with Nichols is the way Deuce Hogan played, the former Kentucky Wildcat quarterback. He gives them a decent shot. If the defense is going to play like that, he was 21 of 36, 221, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. And obviously that was the death blow, was when he threw that play action pass there to for the touchdown that put that game out of reach. And that was a conference game, folks. So if you follow the FCS like we do here, that was a pretty shocking outcome. You had the preseason number 4 team in the nation, in Incarnate Word, a team that spends, at a different rate than really kind of make the case. A lot of teams in the Southland, let's just say that. And now you sit there and say, wow, this Nichols team, which was what, 4-8 a year ago, 4-8. And it's Tommy Rybacki's first game as a head coach, the former Jacksonville State linebacker. His defense showing the fuck up. Very impressive on the defensive line. I know they had a ton of quarterback pressures. How about this? Holding Incarnate Word to 3 of 16 on 3rd down. Pretty fucking impressive. 16 yards rushing Incarnate Word had. That is called getting your ass whooped right there. And look, the only thing I would say for Nichols is like Incarnate Word's defense kept them in decent check. If it wasn't for that pick six, that would have been a very close game. But Nichols was definitely the better team. They were the better team all day, and that was by far the most shocking outcome. As I pissed away a bunch of money on who knew the Nazis were going to show up to week 0. Some say they did that in World War II, week 0. You know, but Incarnate Word, man. I don't. It's not getting any easier either. Too. You look at, they got Eastern Washington and UTSA and Northern Arizona next. Okay, we'll see. We'll see if they can fix this offense and get a little bit better defensively. That quick, but I did lose here after going 2-0 in Farmageddon. I got my ass kicked here. Then. This game, which was fucking hilarious. Oh man, if you didn't get a chance to watch Idaho State UNLV at that filthy dome, which by the way, shout out to the fans that went, that tagged me in the fact that there was barely any UNLV fans there. Like I projected, we were going to go to this game, and then I would say Matt kind of said, I don't know, it's not going to be, even though he had the first half money line. I think he was just a little hungover, if I had to guess. Yeah, I mean, Mac hit a 9-1. If you listen to our show, Mac took Idaho State money line first half, 9-1. By the way, we didn't have odds on the show, but at Circa there it was 9-1. Money line first half hit. If you listen to me, well, we pick every game on the show. And I said, I'll lay the 24.5 because it's going to jump up to 29 or 30, which it did. I think it closed at 31.5. But I said, what is the best bet on the board? It is the over 64.5, which fucking cashed. Boom. But yes, shout out to Mac, who had, just an unbelievable day right there with hitting the 9-1 first half. And to be honest with you, man, had Idaho State's quarterback, why am I drawing a blank on his name right now? He kind of, I know without him they wouldn't have been there because he had a decent day. He had the receiving touchdown early on. But man, when the game got tight, Jordan Cook with some idiotic passes, man, because they were moving the ball down the field, and you're just like, come on, man. UNLV wins 38-31. Dan Mullen, he acts like that was not a big deal just to get past a bad FCS team from a year ago. We'll see how Cody Hawkins and the Bengals do in the Big Sky moving forward. Maybe this is the year, because 3 wins year 1, 5 wins last year. Maybe they go to have a winning record this year with the way that offense can perform. But wow, was that sweaty for UNLV. And I can tell you this, I bet the under on UNLV on the win total. So I'm feeling pretty good after watching that. Now, I also saw them, they play this Friday at Sam Houston. Sam Houston didn't look the greatest in a game that I was on, but the only thing I bet in this one was the over 64.5, and that thing cashed. But man, max play is why, well, I mean, like I said, we had a pretty fire fucking week, with the exception of Incarnate Word and stuff. So, look, we're going to continue to talk about the rest of these games. But before we do that, I want to let you know that the College Football Experience Week 0 reaction show is brought to you by mybookie.ag. Yes, MyBookie is your place to bet on every single sport, including all the sports going on right now. Obviously, we had a little appetizer of college football. We got MLB, golf, tennis, NFL preseason, WNBA, college football futures, NFL futures. You can still get down on, so check those out. And MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of different locations as well. You can easily deposit, get lightning fast payouts using crypto. So head on over to mybookie.ag, and when you do, use our promo code TCESGPN for a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply, of course. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Yes, college football is back on Rhythm. And last season, Rhythm's predictive models had a 22% ROI on non-conference spreads. Absolutely killed it on the FCS totals as well. Week 0 and week 1 last year, by the way, 16-4 ATS. up 11.6 units there, week 0 and week 1. So check them out, folks. Rhythm also has MLB, NFL, golf, WNBA, all that good stuff. Go to the app now and make your own model since the predictions are live, folks. Get your free 7-day trial period today. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's SportsGamblingPodcast.com/rhythm. All right. We are back on the college football experience. And next up, I even got the worst of this fucking number, by the way. Tarleton State, Portland State in Hillsboro, Oregon. This was the worst game of the entire fucking Saturday. I laid 14 with Tarleton State. I said this on the show, even though we were calling it, I think, at 11.5 on the show, but I said these lines will jump. On the Sports Gambling Podcast one, this was my lock. And they won 42-0. And frankly, they probably should have won by more. They didn't have a couple turnovers early on. I think they should have probably won by more. Tarleton State. Now, I don't know how much to put into this one. Portland State should be better in my opinion, but they're kind of underfunded. Their stadium situation is a disaster. And then you have Tarleton State that spends money like an FBS school. But 42-0. Victor Gobales only threw for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now that would have been I did not have that on the bingo card. But I guess they didn't need to. I thought he would pass for a lot more, if you're wondering what I'm talking about. But the real story was Trey Page, the running back. Trey Page, 15 carries, 170 yards. Whew. Oh, and don't worry. Gabales had a 33-yard rush, and Caleb Lewis also went for another 51. Rosemond had 29. Hines had 20. Greek had 8. This Portland State team couldn't stop shit. If you watch this game, moving forward, this is why I think you should listen to us, is because, I mean, not only do we have a great week 0, but I think we're going to be fading Portland State in the Big Sky this year. I understand Tarleton spends a lot more, but I just think that run defense was very, very, very fucking bad. And I will be paying close attention to that moving forward. Portland State, by the way, they just couldn't get anything going. Played 3 different quarterbacks. Just couldn't really get it. They had one drive going, but they ended up throwing a pick in the red zone. So yeah, Tarleton State plays Army Friday night. Chat's talking about it. Kind of fascinated by that game. Kind of fascinated by that. I think that will be a look for me to probably jump on the dog there. Yeah. This was easily the worst game of the day. This was like, I mean, even though it was only like 14-0, like late in the second, it was a miracle that it was 14-0 because me and Mac were sitting in the sportsbook watching this, and I was like, they are getting off of the fucking line of scrimmage so easily, and for whatever reason, Tarleton, they fumbled here, they fumbled there, like they could not get it up, they probably should have been up 28-0 to tell you the truth, but at halftime, but they poured it on in the second half. BYU is taking on Portland State next week. If you're worried about the quarterback situation starting Bachmeier, a young kid, don't worry. They're going to be handing the fucking ball off all game against that Portland State defense. So things to pay attention to. And look for props on that stuff, man. By the way, hopefully you guys are following my brother NC Nick, who was the co-host on this the past, 4 years. He gave out in the Iowa State game, the freshman wideout for Iowa State. He gave out that prop, and that was 40-1, first touchdown of the game. At NC__NICK, because he's still going to be turning into these things and turning out those tweets. So, yeah, Portland State. I do remember when they beat Washington State. Well, Portland State historically has been a great program. That's where Mouse Davis is from. Started his stuff. Historically, it's been a good program. Even under this current coach, he had him as a top 15 team in the past decade. That might have been that same year they beat Wazoo, but this was a fucking embarrassing game. This was just no contest from the start. It's like watching a fucking high school game. After that, we're going to jump to Fresno State, Kansas, and hopefully you listen to me here because I laid the 12.5 with Kansas. Now I did eat shit on the over, which should have hit, by the way. I bet my best plays on this was Kansas minus 12.5 and over. I even got 49.5. Oh my gosh. Kansas going for a 4th and 1 at what? Their own 28, something like that, late in the game. I mean, Fresno with the turnovers. God, I feel like the over is. If they play this game again, I feel like the over hits. Very frustrating outcome down the stretch there in the fourth quarter. If they get 0 points there, basically, disgusting. But we laid the 12.5. I also have money on Kansas's win total over for the season. And how about the way that off? I know it's Fresno, and I don't think Fresno is going to be very good this year. I didn't bet anything on Fresno's win total. After watching them, probably should take the under. But I don't know. I don't want to overreact. But I'll tell you this: I was pretty convinced that Kansas, the final 3 weeks of the season had turned a page last year, and then they bring Daniels back. They go back to the offensive, like one of the offensive guys that's going to be running stuff that Daniels is more familiar with. And then also just I think that's another year in Leipold's system. And the more years they do this, they were a much better team than 5-7 last year. In my opinion, like that was really like an 8-win team that just had bad luck. This game was a strong performance because after Fresno marched down. So if you didn't catch the game, Kansas goes up 7-0 like right away. And man, I played DFS. I loaded up on my only mistake was not doing Daniels because I went with the Maverick MacGyver at the quarterback spot. But man, Daniels had a pretty fire day. And then how about both running backs? Heeshaw and Williams, the Iowa transfer. Those guys are going to be a very good combination moving forward. But the new stadium, the fans came out to that thing. You know my opinions on the stadium, but it was still rocking. And Fresno tied it up pretty quick when Kansas got up 7-0. EJ Warner and Fresno went right down. But after that, Kansas shut that shit down. And you pull up the numbers on this game. Warner threw for 179 yards, 2 interceptions and a fumble. He was all over the place. They couldn't get the ground game going. And that's really the reason why I didn't want to touch Fresno this year. The Entz hire, I am not a huge fan of the Entz hire. I think it could work out, but I do think North Dakota State got better after he left. But I also, I was at Mountain West Media Days. He was talking about how we're going to change our philosophy. He's like, Fresno, we're going back to ground and pound. And I think that can work long-term in Fresno, but to jump right away from kind of a finesse passing team over the past 30 years to this, an attempt to run the ball, it just wasn't working out. And their offense was just terrible, frankly, all game. So yeah, shout out to Kansas and watch out. If you still can, folks, I think there's value on them to win the Big 12. I think that offense now it's a little bit of a gamble because Daniels gets injured so much. And there were 2 plays in that game. If you watch that whole game where I thought, oh man, one, he stayed in the pocket, took a hit, but he got up a little bit. Okay. But I appreciate what he did, but I also thought, don't get fucking injured. Also, one of his runs, I thought he almost got injured. But Kansas super fucking impressive. I went 1-1 on this game. I should have went fucking 2-0. What the hell was this? 34-7 with like 10 minutes left in the third. You're telling me, or 31-7. You're telling me I didn't get any points the rest of the game? This is a fucking brutal beat, man. And I multiple times in scoring position. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. But yes, went 1-1 there. Next up was Sam Houston State and Western Kentucky. This is another one where I said the best play on the board was the over. I also did take the points too, so I'm not going to bullshit you. I did jump on the 10.5. But the over 61.5 did smash. And frankly, like, this score is a little deceiving. Western Kentucky wins 41-24 against Sam Houston State. And you look at this thing, and Sam Houston had the lead 24-21. somewhere late in the second half, or mid second half. When was that? 12-minute mark, third quarter, they had the lead. And then the wheels kind of fell off for Sam Houston. Sam Houston's quarterback play was fucking atrocious, by the way. I mean, he could run, but good God. Hunter Watson, 19 of 30, 209, 1 interception, and just never looked confident. I can understand what they said. They had a 3-man contest pretty late into August, and I was like, they didn't know who they were starting. But we when we previewed it, we thought it was going to be Watson, but I don't know, man. He did not look very good good on the ground. He looked good on the ground, but when it comes to throwing the ball, everything looked questionable. But Maverick MacGyver, 401 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's what I'm talking about. And Western Kentucky, frankly, this was a huge game for them because I actually thought Sam Houston could catch them because of it's a conference game to start the season off. And I thought if there was any time to catch Western Kentucky, it's when they only return 3 starters. And you're overhauling a lot of different pieces of your offense and coaching staff. So I thought Sam Houston could be live in this game. And for a little bit, it looked like it. But the Tops get it done. I do believe that is probably going to solidify. Remember, Delaware and Missouri State cannot go to the Conference USA Championship game. And I will overreact here. This is a reaction show. Let me fucking overreact. Western Kentucky will play Liberty in the CUSA Championship. That's not a hot take. But I think this was one of their trap games. They just survived. They don't play the Flaming Libs on the schedule this year. So I think that this was a gigantic win. I actually think, like, short of Farmageddon, this is probably the biggest win of the whole fucking day. So shout out to the Tops, and we got to watch them moving forward because MacGyver throwing for over 400 yards. Folks, if you play DFS, he was underpriced. Like I said, I probably should have gone with the quarterback stack and had Jalon Daniels with him. But also keep an eye on Matthew Henry. Matthew Henry, 7 for 148 at the receiver spot there. He also had a run in the game. So, keep an eye out for him. And how about Brad Maynard's son? Fucking punt of the year. If you didn't catch that, use Twitter with an unbelievable fucking punt. Go check out that punt. That was the punt of the year right there. 71 yards. 71 yards. Brett, what are you talking about? College DFS is a no. I've won the number one. I've given out on these fucking airwaves the number one. And you know what's even worse is none of you scumbags tailed me. I got the number one lineup in DK. What? I think it was the COVID year, or the first year after the COVID year, with pretty much loading up on 70% of the roster on Wake Forest and North Carolina players. College DFS, I think, is a much sharper edge than NFL. You're crazy. NFL, I think, is harder. But yeah, anyway, Sam Houston State. Now, let's talk about this for a second. Sam Houston plays UNLV on Friday. I know people are going to probably overreact to this and say, we got to load up on Sam Houston money line. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. And my logic is this. UNLV's pass defense was terrible. Now, I understand that Idaho State rushed for a lot of yards, but I also think that was out of the run and shoot. I don't know that Hunter Watson can strike the same fear. And remember, this is not on campus. This will be in Houston at the Shell Energy Stadium, the MLS stadium, because Sam Houston's renovating their stadium for this season. I don't know. I might look for a UNLV play because I will say Sam Houston did not impress me as much as I thought they could. I thought the defense would struggle, but I thought that offense might look a little sharper. And Watson seems to be all over the place. Yeah, from a stat point of view, he actually had a good game. I mean, he did have a 55-yard touchdown run. So to his credit, he did run his ass off. But man, there were a lot of 50-50 balls where I was like, oh my God, that's almost a pick six. That's almost a pick six. So I actually, there we go. Rob loves Hunter Watson's game. I don't know. I'm going to see what that line does throughout the week. but I think I might jump on the Rebs because how many Sam Houston fans are going to make that hour-long drive to that MLS stadium? I don't know how many will. But anyway, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought Watson had. I like him as a gamer. Like he played hard. I love quarterbacks that aren't pussies that will try to run. But man, he threw some questionable passes in that game. All right. Let's jump to the next game. But before I do that, I want to let you know that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Basketball Mania is happening all summer long, giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million for first place. There's no waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Basketball is the best way to play fantasy football, folks. Underdog also is a great place to play pick'em, where you can win up to 500 times the amount of money you enter. And get this, Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by, Circa Millions and Circa Survivor. We were just out at Circa. Shout out to the Circa, by the way. Treating us great. I mean, I had a fucking limousine pick me up. I mean, goddamn felt like Burt Reynolds. Limo on the way back to the airport. I'm like, what's going on? I felt like, how many people have seen Trading Places? Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. He's in a car and the Duke brothers. They're picking him up from jail. He's in this limo, and they open up a box of cigars. And they're like, "This is yours, Billy Ray. This how?" He goes, "You're telling me this? Everything in here is mine, right?" Where he just puts his hand in the whole cigar box and grabs all 15 of them, puts them in his pocket. So that's the way I felt when I was in this limousine. They're like, all this booze, you can have whatever this one. You're telling me all this booze right here, this bottle of tequila, I can pour the thing, right? I was like, Mac, why don't you put one of these in the bag, right? I'm fucking around, but that's the way I felt for a second. I was like, it's almost like you don't know what to do, right? But anyway, man, the Circa is incredible. And look, I know you missed sign up weekend, but you can still sign up before the NFL season kicks off, because they are hosting the world's biggest pro football contest, Circa Million, Circa Survivor, and Circa Grandissimo, with over $21 million in guaranteed prizes. Sign up in Nevada, play from anywhere with the help of SGPN's official proxy. Go to footballcontest.com. Use that promo code SGP to get $50 off those proxy fees. Remember, the contest close on Saturday, September 3rd. So you do want to get in now. All right, let's go. All right, we are back on the College Football Experience reaction show, and just talked Tops and Bearcats, CUSA glory. After that, we jump over to UC Davis Mercer, which I am going to bitch, and I am going to bitch, and I am going to bitch. How do you fucking do this? How do you do this right now? They played 53 minutes of 60 minutes. 53 and change, I believe. And UC Davis never trailed. But holy shit, was Mercer in the middle of a comeback. Mercer had just blocked a field goal and taken it back to midfield. They were down 21-3, I believe, if memory, or 23-3. And they had cut that game to 23 to what? What was that score when they cut to like 16, 17? I don't know. We're consuming, but then we had lightning strikes and they delayed the game a little bit. And then get this, they forfeited the game, both teams. So the game never happened. What am I fucking missing here? There's a reason why I think ties are the dumbest shit ever in any sport. When you go to a game, when you invest your time going to a game, watching a game, betting on a game, whatever it may be, playing in the fucking game, you deserve, in my opinion, to always have a winner and a loser. Always. I understand that there is lightning for like 16 hours. I remember an Iowa State game where I had money on Iowa State and they were winning. Cyhawk battle. They were winning and they had like a 18-hour lightning delay, I felt like. And then I was able to steal the game because of it. But who cares? That win should count for Iowa. because they played it on the fucking field. They should have played this the next morning, in my opinion, or moved it. Just the next morning. Why couldn't you play it the next morning? You don't need fucking fans there. Finish the 7 minutes. This is ridiculous. And guess what? It might have major implications on this. Both these teams are probably going to be FCS playoff teams. I know Mercer didn't look great, but they're the preseason favorite in the SoCon. UC Davis looked really impressive to me. How about that stud quarterback? And the fact that these teams will now play one less game where they could have a head-to-head. Also, it might be the win that could keep the team out of the playoffs. This is ridiculous. You should you're telling me UC Davis couldn't stay there one more fucking night? What's the cost of a hotel room in fucking Montgomery, Alabama? I refuse to believe that this would be this big of an issue. UC Davis is a very rich fucking school. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous for the fans, for the gamblers, for the players, for the coaches, for the whole goddamn FCS. Ridiculous outcome. This was one of the better. I think this was going to be one of the best endings, I think, in the game or of the whole fucking day, because Mercer had rallied back. Yeah. As Ron says in the chat, it might cost Davis a first round bye. That's what I'm saying. You have to play this the next day. If it's 12 hours, who cares? Wake up at 8 a.m. You have 7 minutes left on the fucking clock. Or how about this? If you're going to call it, then just call it at that point. You don't make it like the game never fucking existed. But I can understand Mercer saying, hey, no, don't call this game, because they had the ball at midfield in a one-score game and had rallied a lot of points. Fucking terrible. Yeah. That one was very, very disappointing to my day. Then the next game was NC Central and Southern. Now here's what's interesting here on our show. I did take NC Central -14. I took Southern +14. I apologize. But this line was at 9.5 come Friday. So I jumped on it on Central. I know there's no way to verify that I did that, but I just want to let you know that I did. At 14, I was like, I got to take Southern. But how about Southern? I had no idea. Also, FCS information's tricky because you had no idea that they suspended their starting quarterback. They went with Cameron McCoy. I had no intel that their starting quarterback was not going to play. And that's kind of important. But I will say, to me, I was going to jump on Central if it was ever under 10. I didn't think it was ever going to go under 10, though. I thought it was going to be 14, 13, 12, something like that. And I thought 2 scores would be just right around where that thing went. But yeah, 9.5 out there. And that's another reason why I get the SGPN app, folks, because we update our picks in there, that we're betting on for that day. So although there was no show that day, that was on the app. Free app, by the way, iTunes, Spotify, whatever. App Store, whatever app store you use. Type in SGPN, you'll get that, and then just go to our page and click on picks, and boom, we're there. Shout out to Central, by the way. Trey Oliver just keeps a really good program. That's a tough team because Southern took a lead in that game. This was a good game, but Central, they got to a point and they were like, okay, when Southern took that lead, they bounced right the fuck back. And from that point on, it was all Central's game. So shout out to the Eagles for getting it done there. And then I would say you can argue this was the craziest game of the day. Stanford on the island against Hawaii. Hawaii was laying 2.5. Yes, I did bet Hawaii -2.5. Yes, I did bet Hawaii under 50.5. Oh boy, I got lucky on this. I had no business winning this, in my opinion. Frank Wright does not understand fucking clock management. Also, why are you passing there when you just had like a 20-play, 10-minute drive when Hawaii was giving up like 6 yards of rush? Oh man, so if you didn't catch this game, Stanford had a 3-point lead and was at the Hawaii 30 maybe. And then Hawaii's linebacker made just an unbelievable interception. There we go. I mean,
It's a hard ticket to Hawaii. It's not paradise all the time. It's a hard ticket to Hawaii.
out the gate, Hawaii, man, it was like UCLA all over again. They got their returner calls a fair catch at the 1. The next play, fucking strip sack, fumble. If anything, the Hawaii defense, despite giving up that ridiculous drive, did play much better than we've seen in years. But Goldbranson's fucking terrible for Stanford. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. All right. I just I don't know how the fuck I got this win. I think I was okay. The under was going to cash all day. I was okay. I was going to go 1-1. Stanford though up 3 after that long 9-minute drive. I was sitting there telling Mac, I go, this game is fucking over. Look at that defensive line getting pushed around. So Stanford gets the ball back and decides to throw the ball a couple times. Why? What are we doing here? With a guy that had, honestly, Goldbranson had a lot of passes that game that should have been intercepted. Hawaii safety dropped 2 of them, right? Why would you do that? Why would you put your team in jeopardy? You have the lead. You're averaging like 5 yards a rush. Truly mind-numbing coaching from Frank Wright down the stretch here. So shout out to Clark in the chat. I got lucky as fuck in this one. And how about that kicker, by the way? You guys obviously caught up. I think you probably caught the backstory of this kicker right now. Came over from Japan. He was on vacation in America. Saw some NFL game and said, I should be a kicker. Went and taught himself on YouTube how to kick. Then goes to some JUCO in Ohio. And now he's at Hawaii. That's a huge win for that program, man. I'm very happy for them to be able to steal that win, because the old Hawaii over the past 4 years would find a way to lose that game. And they finally found a way to win that game. Even though some of that, I'd say majority of that is on Frank Wright / Goldbranson. But that is huge for the Hawaii over, which I did. I didn't bet, but I took it on the show. Hawaii over 5.5 wins. That was a pretty important fucking game right there. How about Alejado too? Is very good in that offense, even though I personally think he was faking the shit out of that injury. It's like, dude, he's limping. And then it's like, when it comes time to it, no, he's not limping. Anyway. And he does do that abrupt slide, but man, I will say this, he's got some wheels. And with that offense, with the way he could sling the rock in conference play, that's going to be a hard win anytime you go to Hawaii. Now, maybe when they have to go on the road in the Mountain West, where it gets cold, and I don't know, Colorado Springs and Logan and Fort Collins. I don't know. We'll have to see at that point, but I think they're a bowl team this year. And I think, man, they needed that. That was just like, they needed that win, because they've just been knocking on the door in a lot of games like that. They should have beat UCLA a year ago. And yes, that abrupt slide is the worst fucking play in football. This is why that they don't really care about player safety. They care about scoring. And the more times you can flag somebody, the more points you're going to get. The player safety angle is always nonsense. Everyone I've talked to, I was talking to SGPN, our doctor. I don't think we were on air. I think we were off air about that. And he was like, absolutely ridiculous. Anyone that you talk to that knows anything about fucking concussions will tell you that that's on the offensive player. That is on and it's very, very dangerous for the offensive player. If you're not going to penalize that, I don't know what the fuck we're doing. Because what is the defense supposed to do? And he's fast as shit too. You can't adjust that fast. There's just watching on TV. We were at the sports book and someone was trying to say that the defense should have adjusted, but if you've not played the game, then you don't realize how hard it is to quickly adjust that fast. That rule needs to be changed, and that should be illegal, in my opinion. But what a win there. And Stanford, by the way, moving forward, I don't know. They had, now I will say the run game looked all right. But man, I don't know how they're going to win any games with Gulbranson passing. He's not very good at passing the ball. I don't know how they're going to win games. I just don't. Like, this was their one they needed to get. What's their other non-con games? Notre Dame, San Jose State. Who's the fourth one? I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, but I don't see how they're going to fucking win. I don't see how they're going to win any of these games. So, yeah, shout out to Hawaii. But just to let you know, folks, to the prick that came in our YouTube chat and giving a shit about the Incarnate Word pick. So I was 2-0 here. I hit on this. If you would have known on the app, three there, I would have hit on this motherfucker here. And then I did lose on the minus 10.5, but I hit on the over. Similar situation here, but we had a kick-ass week. This was an easy play here, even at 14, easy fucking play. I mean, we dominated this thing. Gave out a 9-1 first half. I didn't give that out, but Mac did. I mean, we dominated this fucking board. Had a great weekend. So can't wait and we're going to do 2 picks episodes this week, folks. Tomorrow night, we're going to do the Thursday, Friday games because there's a bunch of them. And then I believe on Wednesday, we will do the picks for Saturday, for Sunday, and for Monday. And anyone hit me up on Monday, I will be in Chapel Hill. I'm still on the fence about the ECU NC State game, but I will be at Chapel Hill for Chapel Bill's first game there. Yeah, stick around, folks, because I'm going to preview these Clemson Tigers solo in about 5-10 minutes. So we got to get through these previews. All right. But what a great start to the season. Subscribe, tell a friend, youtube.com/the college experience. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Be back in about 5 minutes talking Clemson Tiger football, a team a lot of people think can win the national championship. So let's go. This is the college football experience, week 0 style. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here.
Celly's off, so I can't be found. I'm on a worldwide tour, touring every fucking curtain down. They say the Lord watches over my sins, over my head, watching hair as it thins. Over the ledge, it ain't letting me in. There's still regiments and relevance to letting me win. Win, win, lose, or draw. You ain't prepared unless you are ready to lose it all. Losing a brawl? Yeah, that's a ride a day. Good friends know my Nina Hideaway. They came and went, but the riders stay. So it's like I won the lottery and can't be found. Until I resurface with the latest purchase. 33 and a third and 45 circles. You ain't got that shit. And I ain't 45 king. But on the beats, I've been doing my thing. I start the program and the doorbell ring. I gotta leave town to a place I can't be found. My celly's off, so I can't be found. I'm on a worldwide tour, touring every fucking curtain down. American dreams, lessons, and still they work. I guess the sand on the beach still was really dirt. Now I'm going home, flying over Rome at 30,000 feet. Like, damn, is that really Earth? I see the killers work on walls, familiar turf. Got a little school in graph, 101 was first. Got a little school in math, didn't really work. But put the numbers on the block and I make them hurt. Any block is my stomping ground where my people lay low so they can't be found. They don't wanna be, ain't from the crew.